Standing for this evening's invocation. St. Basil, an influential 4th century Christian theologian and monastic, wrote that, quote, "A good deed is never lost. He who sows courtesy reaps friendship. He who plants kindness gathers love." Let us pray this evening that our actions as a community, as stakeholders of this city, be guided in thought and deed by these principles. We pray that our leaders and the public will sow courtesy and reap friendship, which will help us all grow together as one city to be prosperous and successful. We pray for our men and women in our armed forces, that they remain out of harm's reach and that they fulfill their service to their country in maintaining peace around the world. We pray for their safe return and for their families who wait for them. Amen.
Have your report, please.
The agenda for the September 28, 2010 regular meeting of the Glendale City Council was posted on Thursday, September 23, 2010 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Thank you. And let's go to the next item.
Under presentation and appointments at 3A is the agenda preview for the meetings of October 5, 2010.
Ms. Beers.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, for the afternoon at 2:30, there are no Glendale Housing Authority or Glendale Redevelopment Agency agenda items. In the afternoon at 2:30, we do have a joint public meeting of the Glendale City Council, the Glendale Redevelopment Agency, and the Housing Authority. It's a public hearing, and this is the Director of Community Redevelopment and Housing. This is regarding the proposed Habitat for Humanity 5-unit affordable home ownership project, which is to be located at 624 Geneva Street. That evening for City Council at 6 p.m., we have a few consent items. Director of Public Works, this is Targeted Rubberized Asphalt Concrete Incentive Grant Program, and this is also a chip seal grant program for 2009-2010. That evening also Director of Public Works, San Fernando Road Rehabilitation Project, this is Phase 2. Director of Public Works, Doran Pump Station Upgrade Project, and General Manager of Glendale Water and Power. This is a bid proposals received for the portable pump connection installation project. And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. The next item, please.
Next item on the agenda at 3B is commendation to Gyeosong Ogwangde Mask Dance Preservation Association.
Thank you. And Mr. Peter, Mr. Young, would you come forward, please?
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and distinguished councilmen. I'm here. I'm Peter Jung from the Korea Glendale Sister City Association. I'm currently the president, and I would like to bring up our board member, Chang Lee, to bring in our guest from Gyeosong, Korea.
Mr. Lee.
Yeah, Gyeosong Ogwangde is a mass dance group, and it's a national intellectual treasure, number 7. So we have quite few, but when it's number 7, these are the real people. And Mr. Lee is the president of Gyeosong Ogwangde, and thank you very much for recognizing his work and his group. And they'd like to show you a 3-minute presentation of what mass dance is all about tonight. So would you like to do a presentation first and then see the mass dance?
Why don't I present the commendation, and then we can have their performance.
Sure, thank you. 먼저 이거 presentation 하고 그다음에
Okay, they can come on this side if they want to take pictures. They can come.
And this is my mask that I received when I was in...
Photographers.
Thank you very much.
Our photographers up
Mr.
here.
Mayor, if we can, we need to get the photographers situated here.
Up here. Come on up.
Okay. Up around. There you go.
And this is my commendation to Lee Yun-suk, President of the Gyeosong Ogwangde Preservation Association. On behalf of the City of Glendale, I extend this commendation in recognition of the outstanding success of the Gyeosong Ogwangde for global presentation of rich cultural heritage of the Korean tradition. The Ogwangde, which means mask dance, reflects joys and sorrows of common people, and your visit to Glendale has brought joy to our city. I wish you the very best in all your future endeavors. and I participated in a short display of the Ogwande dance. I was even refused to exit the room, refused to leave until I participated. I was out there dancing, and it was quite an enjoyable and uplifting experience. I'm usually not a dancer, but you can imagine, and this was only in 3 p.m. Should be no confusion about other types of dancing that may have happened later. But and what you're going to see here is going to be just a short example of this traditional Korean dance. And I think everyone on the dais and at home will be pleasantly will be pleased with the dancing and the music and the beats that we hear.
You can maybe talk about Makdugi, which is
Well, one of the characters in the dance is Makdugi. He is he's a stable boy, a stable worker, and his dance is that of mockery of the nobles and a reinforcement of the traditional values that the common people have. The point is that you don't have to be rich to have a good heart and to have a pure ethics and pure values and virtues. And one of the dances that we saw was from Makdugi. This is the mask of Makdugi. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Lee or to
Mr. Lee.
President.
글래디시에 따뜻하고 신선한 좋은 바람이 일어서 이 고성오광대 회원들을 환영해 주시는 글렌데일시 시의원님, 시장님께 깊이 감사를 드립니다.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the warm welcome of City Council, people of Glendale, and the Mayor.
고성에서 시장님을 뵙고 오늘 이렇게 건강한 모습으로 다시 뵈니 정말 기쁩니다.
He is glad to see the Mayor. He met him in Korea. You heard Mayor say that he met him dance. But he is glad to see him again here, in a healthy condition.
이 부채,
Yeah.
이 부채는 맑고 따뜻하고 신선한 바람을 이렇게 일으키는 작은 도구지만은 이것이 글렌데일 시의 모든 시민들에게 좋은 아름다운 그런 청량한 바람을 가져다주는 그런 선물이 되었으면 좋겠습니다.
This fan is a custom-made fan. It's a hand fan. It creates a small wind to cool you down. It gives you fresh air. But he is hoping that this little fan will bring City of Glendale, much fresh air to all Glendaleans here in Glendale.
Those drums are going to make good noise in here.
There will be a demonstration of Owangde dance.
Great echo chamber.
Let me just explain the.
What'd you say?
Obviously, the man in yellow costume is the nobleman, and man in the the other commoner clothing is. These people through this dance made mockery of the nobleman when nobleman had everything, and this is a way they express their displeasure and then their, I guess, fun. Through dance, mask dances like this. They will be performing at Wilson Junior High, 10:30 tomorrow morning, and also at 2 o'clock at Glendale College auditorium. So if those who want to see the full-length 45-minute performances, they are welcome to come to Glendale College, either Glendale College or Wilson Junior High. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Thank you very much for that performance. I don't think we've ever had anything so exciting and dynamic before us in City Council. And we'll leave it at that. Very good. Very, very rousing. Next item, please.
Well, to follow that, at 3C, we have announcement of Glendale Canines in the Park, October 9th, 2010.
Bring the dogs in.
Okay. If the dogs haven't been
They were
scared by
here
all
a
the
moment ago.
excitement.
Okay.
Good evening. Thank you for having us here this evening. I'd like to welcome everybody. Myself is, I'm Officer Feely. This is my partner, Officer Schultes. And our four-legged partners, which you can hear behind us, mine is Yudi, and his partner is Sam. And we're here to welcome all of you and all our viewers at home to our second annual Glendale Canines in the Park fundraiser. And that is going to be October 9th at Verdugo Park between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. It's going to be a lot of fun activities, including low-cost pet vaccinations, so it's pet-friendly. You can bring your dogs, you can bring your cats, have them vaccinated also if they need anything. We'll have microchipping for the animals as well, great music, food, a lot of fun events for the kids, including face painting, bouncers, rock walls. We'll have a pet adoption through the Pasadena Humane Society. So many things. Let's see what there.
And the purpose of this event is to raise money to replace our dogs once they
Sean,
retire.
can you talk closer to the mic? No problem.
The purpose of this event is to raise money for future dogs once our current dogs retire, which is going to be in about 1 to 3 years. And we've had great support from our co-sponsors, to the community services and parks, as well as the city clerk's office. And we're still looking for vendors and sponsors up to the day of the event. And for more information about the event, you can go to www.glendaleg9, the letter K and the number 9.com. And I believe there's a commercial that was airing on GTV6. I'm not sure if Brian can run that or not, but we would love to see all of you there. Last year was a fantastic event, and through word of mouth, I think it's really going to be a lot even bigger this year. So it should be a good time for everyone.
Costume contest for the pets also.
That's right. Right before Halloween, we're going to have the costume contest for the pets. So if you want to bring your pets in costume, we will have prizes for that as well.
If I can just add a few words, Mr. Mayor and Council. As Officer Schultes mentioned, this is an event that's been co-sponsored by the City Clerk's Office, and the purpose for it is, I guess we have the ad, so we should probably... Oh, no, that was a close-up of the dog. All right. So, sorry, I'm so accustomed to seeing one scene.
What are they doing down there?
I thought our folks downstairs might be. But for many people in Glendale who are accustomed to having the low price, reduced cost vaccination clinic for their pets that we as a city clerk's office have to do at least once a year, we've now rolled that event into this event. And part of it is because this is a free event for the entire community. Anyone who has an animal can come to Verdugo Park, watch the demonstrations, and see what takes place. And if they need to get a reduced cost vaccination, which some families may, given the current state of the economy and watching the bottom dollar of their household income, they can come and do that. So we're now rolling that event into this. So anyone who was accustomed to coming to the parking lot here at City Hall will now have to go to Verdugo Park for this.
Okay, very good. And it was a very well-attended event last year in Verdugo Park. So come early at 11 at Verdugo Park. Bring your pets and your kids and have a good time out there.
Absolutely.
All in support of our K-9 program.
Yes, we'll see you all out there. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you very much. Next item, please.
3D is certificates of appreciation to Mr. Vartan Vartanians and Mr. Tommy Chow by the Pelanconi Estates Homeowners Association for their dedication to the public safety and the improvement of quality of life in their neighborhood.
Mr. Masihi and Ms. Taylor.
Mayor Nigerian and members of City Council, we want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to present these two certificates of appreciation to Tommy Chow and Mr. Vartan Vartanians from the Transportation and Parking Department. The reason why the Pelanconi Estates HOA decided to actually present these certifications is because truly these two individuals have provided an immense service to our neighborhood, starting from 2 years ago when the flyover project started until recently. I'm going to first present the first certificate to Tommy Chow, and then we'll have our Vice President, Joylene Taylor, present the second certificate to Mr. Vartan Vartanians. Mr. Tommy Chow, if you can join us. The certificate reads, the Pelanconi Estates Homeowners Association proudly presents the certificate of appreciation to Tommy Chow for his hard work, dedication, and continuous service to the Pelanconi Estates neighborhood. This certificate of appreciation distinguishes Mr. Tommy Chow's service to the neighborhood by providing traffic calming measures and his continuous efforts to improve the public safety in the Pelanconi Estates neighborhood. Mr. Tommy Chow was really instrumental in bringing numerous speed limit signs, stop signs, and pavement markings to our neighborhood that we had desperately asked for many years, actually. And recently we've been getting some traffic improvements in the neighborhood, traffic calming improvements, and it's because of Jano Bagdanian and Mr. Steve Zern and Mr. Tommy Chow, and we really appreciate Tommy Chow's efforts to actually come out and ask us where we wanted these stop signs and speed limit signs. We really appreciated his efforts, and as a result, Tommy, congratulations. Thank you for doing a great job. And now Joylene Taylor.
Well, I had a little speech just for you, but I said that you made a great first impression at the beginning of the flyover project when you gave out your cell phone number and told all the neighbors to call you if you had any questions or concerns. And we had a lot, and we made good use of your phone number. But you answered every phone call, you looked into every complaint, and you truly showed that you cared. And we really appreciate that. I'm very happy to tell you that now that the project is completed, I will be deleting you from my Fave 5 on my cell phone. But in all seriousness, you took the time to meet with neighbors and share your concerns, or share our concerns, and we are truly grateful for that. On behalf of our association, and especially Grange and Fairmont residents, we are happy to present this certificate of appreciation, which reads, for his hard work, dedication, and continuous service to the Pelanconi Estates neighborhood, this certificate of appreciation distinguishes Mr. Vartan Vartanian's service to the neighborhood during the Fairmont Avenue flyover project and his unceasing efforts to preserve the quality of life in the Pelanconi Estates neighborhood during the 2-year construction project. So thank you very much for everything.
Thank you on behalf of the City Council as well. We're very happy that we have two concerned and dedicated individuals who were being sensitive to the disruption and inconvenience that was placed upon the neighborhood during that flyover construction. So thank you from us as well. Engineers, Dave Engineer Weaver says it's because they're engineers.
Dedicated civil engineers.
Okay. Thank you. This concludes the presentations and appointments. Mr. Lee, if the guests would like a moment to step out, this would be a good time. Unless they'd like to stay for the rest of the meeting, they're certainly entitled to do so. They'll stay. They'll be here for the sister city item. Very good. Let's move to the next item.
Next item, Mr. Mayor and Council, is City Council and staff comments.
Thank you. Any comments?
I do.
Mr. Draymond.
I have a few, Mr. Mayor. The first takes us to the far north part of Glendale, Lowell Avenue, north of Honolulu Avenue. I had a contact from Vicki Dorsey, a resident up in the avenues, as we call them, 4th and Community near Lowell, an issue with speeding related to parents dropping off children at the school up there. And so I've had a chance to speak with the city manager and with Mr. Zern about it. They're going to do conduct some public outreach out there, meet with the residents. But let me just ask Mr. Zern to touch on that if we can.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Councilmember Draymond, we are. You've provided me the contact for the resident, and we'll consider her the leader of the gang at this point, and I'll make that contact, and we'll set up a meeting out there. We'll also take some traffic counts and do some speed surveys. My understanding is from the residents that there's some construction activity, so we'll make sure we clear that first, and then we'll sit down and also engage the school. As I mentioned to you, Mr. Draymond, we've had other issues related to drop-offs and pickups that the school has been very cooperative, and I expect that to be the same here, and we'll see what we can do to help relieve the situation.
Right. Let me make it also, thanks, Mr. Zern, and let me also make it very clear that the residents that have contacted me on this have given me encouraging news, and that is that the principal of the school there they're all on a first-name basis, and he's been doing an absolutely great job up there, but may have exhausted his ability to deal with the speeding. And so I think it makes a lot of sense for us to hold this outreach and just figure out exactly what the needs are to cope with the speeding, and then take steps, whether it's something as extreme as speed bumps or stop signs or whatever, but we won't know that till we talk to the residents up there. So thank you very much, Mr. Zern. Second, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to remind the public about Glendale's 9th annual Unity Fest is coming 1 week from this Sunday, on Sunday, October the 10th. From 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Brand Boulevard. This will be its third year in a row. On Brand Boulevard, you can see the slide is up on the screen now. This year's event is billed as really what the event is, an international street fair with a global marketplace, live entertainment, international food court, arts and crafts, children's games and activities, farmers market, and, best of all, free admission. Lots of wonderful entertainment, and the free admission and free parking is at the Orange Street Garage, and that's in the 200 block of North Orange Street. And this year we have a special guest. We have a celebrity guest host, Mario Lopez, many of you know from television, who will be on hand. Now, this is Brand Boulevard between Lexington and California. From 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's a lot of fun to step right out into the middle of the street in the heart of our city, see a whole assortment of just wonderful multicultural entertainment. Everything from every country you can imagine, Mr. Mayor, every ethnic cuisine. Well, maybe not every, but a whole lot. It's worth coming to. It's a lot of fun, and you'll enjoy it. I always see my colleagues out there for this event, and we look forward to that this year as well. And I'll remind the public again next week. Lastly, I want to also remind the public that this Saturday is, I believe, the 33rd third annual? Well, they're over 30 anyway, Mr. Mayor. Montrose Oktoberfest, sponsored by the Montrose Verduga City Chamber of Commerce. And they take over Honolulu Avenue and the Montrose Shopping Park in the 24 and 2300 blocks. And it's an all-day fun activities, shopping, restaurants, and then all of the activities for the Oktoberfest. There's bingo, there's contests of stein holding and dancing, yes, stein holding, Mr. Mayor and Mr. City Manager. I know you'll be there in your lederhosen trying to defend your record from last year. And along with booths and games and rides, Ferris wheels and so on. It's a lot of fun, and it's one of the largest events in terms of attendance. More than 30,000 people showed up last year, so that's a big event for our city by any standard. So we invite you to come out and enjoy the day, and we're supposed to have a lot cooler temperatures by Saturday and Sunday.
Hours?
And the hours are usually, I believe, 10
o'clock.
I'm lost. I just usually show up. I think it's about 10 o'clock until 10.
For the families until 4 or 5.
Yeah, and then it becomes more of a...
And the beer.
Yes, until about 10 o'clock at night. So it's a lot of fun. And I know we'll see you there, Mr. Mayor.
I'm usually
and
there.
And the whole family, along with Mr. Starbird and his lederhosen. Yes. And bring all the dachshunds out there. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I have a few items, and I'll go through them without belaboring. I'd like to thank the Glendale Fire Department, who served as cooks and servers and busboys and cleanup crew for the Guess Who's Coming to Dinner event at my home on Saturday night, with all proceeds going towards the Glendale Healthy Kids organization, which provides much-needed medical, dental, and eye care for underprivileged Glendale children. They were great. There was no overtime used in the presentation and the cooking, and the men and women were actually working, and they did go to their calls when needed. Many of the firefighters were there on their off days volunteering. So thank you very much, and I think they made a tidy sum for Glendale Healthy Kids. The next item is going to be a public hearing, which is going to be held tomorrow at 6 p.m. This is for the Doran Street crossing. The administrative law judge has decided to hold an additional hearing for public input. This is the public participation hearing. So if you'd like to address the administrative law judge, that's going to be held at 6 p.m. in the Municipal Services Building, room 105, tomorrow at 6 p.m. The next item, chronologically, is an event that's going to be occurring this Saturday and Sunday, October 2nd and 3rd. This is the American Cancer Society Relay for Life. This will be held at the Shoal Canyon Ball Fields. It is a fundraiser to help get funds for the Cancer Society in their quest for a cure for cancer. This is one of the most significant events that goes on in Glendale. It starts at 9 a.m. Saturday morning. It goes all the way 24 hours till 9 a.m. Sunday. There will be a luminaria event at dusk on Saturday night. Of course, the point is to form a team or to volunteer and to donate funds for this event. Many of the city agencies, fire, police, public works, Parks Department will be volunteering, and they'll be providing everything that you need for a comfortable 24 hours. Bring your own tent. There's plenty of campsites. They will be serving dinner, midnight snack, lunch, hot coffee and pancakes in the morning. So you're taken care of as far as that's concerned. But come out, be with the community. I will be there. Many of the city staff will be there as well. So at the same time, that you're fighting cancer, you can mingle with your neighbors and city staff, and really, hopefully, that we will have a cure for cancer within our lifetimes. I think that's a great goal for us. You can take a break and go to Oktoberfest if you need to, but there'll be plenty of fun and action up there at the Relay for Life at the Shoal Canyon ball fields. The next item is results from a meeting I had earlier today with members of the Glen Oaks Canyon Homeowners Association, but it's an issue that I think touches all of our neighborhoods that are nestled in the hillsides, and that is the issue of late-night partying, carousing, excursions into the hillsides, smoking, drug use, other illicit activities going on. I have had a discussion with Mr. Garcia, who sat in at the meeting, and apparently there is a huge amount of crime that's associated at the trailheads of those hiking trails that lead up into the hills, especially in the evenings. I have asked that the city attorney look into the current ordinance that we have prohibiting activities in our parks, and I think we realize that since we've developed all this outdoor open space, it doesn't fit neatly into any of the categories where there are prohibitions of loitering and attending and conducting activities. So you will be coming back to us, something the council can then discuss. The goal is to stop any of the criminal activity. You know what I'm talking about, the kids that go up there and park, they hike up, maybe they're smoking cigarettes, maybe they're smoking cigars, maybe they're smoking other things, disposing of their trash, their matches, other nasty things that go on up there. We want to put a stop to it, and we want to make sure that our laws are tailored so the police department can address that properly and put an end to that sort of activity. So that will be coming back at a future date once the city attorney's office gets through the issue. And my last item, I would like to recognize Dave Cole and his son Matthew. Dave, would you come forward? And Matthew? I've known Dave for many years, since getting involved with the city early on, and I know Dave's son has grown from being a youth to a young man. And Matthew, you are currently serving in the United States Army, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're going to be going somewhere in just a few days, is that correct too?
About 2 weeks, Mr. Mayor.
And where are you going?
Camp Carwell, Afghanistan.
In Afghanistan. Well, we are certainly proud of you. I'm sure your dad is very proud of you. We wish you the very best. We want you to come back safely, and we know that you're going to defend this country well and defend the honor of all the United States citizens in your efforts in Afghanistan. We appreciate everything you're doing, and send us an email or send us a little note so we know how you're doing throughout your course. Is that a 2-year stint or is that a 6-month?
Somewhere from 12 to 15 months, Mr. Mayor.
12 to 15 months. Okay, well, our prayers will be with you and everyone else in your outfit and everyone else from the States, from our armed services that are out there with you, both in Afghanistan and in Iraq. So thank you very much. Nice to see you. You've got a nice eagle blazoned on your chest, and we hope to see you when you return.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. I don't have any other items. Is there any comments from staff?
We have Officer Blanca Aguila who would like to make an announcement.
Good evening, council members, everyone at home. My name is Officer Blanca Aguila, and I currently work with a community policing unit. I'm one of the 4 community policing officers for the South Command, which covers all of Glendale south of the 134. And I'd just like to remind the people at home that we will be hosting a town hall meeting tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. at Horseman Elementary School in the cafeteria. Their address is 501 East Acacia Avenue, and you can enter off Mariposa. We'll be discussing some of the most recent crime trends in the south area of Glendale. We'll also have a question and answer panel, so if there's any citizens in the city of Glendale that have questions regarding the South Command area, we really urge them to be there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other staff?
We have our Fire Chief, Harold Scoggins.
Chief
and Zalvin
Scoggins.
Kazazian.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I'm Harold Scoggins, Fire Chief, and tonight I'm with Zalvin Kazazian, President of the Glendale Sunrise Rotary Club. Tonight we come before you to announce the Glendale Fire Department Awards Luncheon that's going to be taking place on October 13th from 11:30 to 1:30 in the afternoon at the Glendale Hilton. This luncheon, once again, we're going to recognize some of the outstanding contributions that the men and women of the Glendale Fire Department have made to the community, as well as citizens here in the community for some of the good things that they have done. If the community has an interest in attending the event, you can call the Glendale Fire Department at 818-550-5616 or check the Glendale Fire Department's website for more information. Once again, the Glendale Fire Department Awards Luncheon, October the 13th from 11:30 to 1:30 at the Glendale Hilton.
Thank you, Chief. Well, Mr. Mayor, City Council, and staff, would love to see everybody there, so please come, enjoy yourself. It's going to be a terrific event, as usual, and the Glendale Sunrise Rotary Club is very proud to be hosting it for the 4th year. And one of the things that I do want to mention is the fact that all the proceeds, after we pay the bills, we use it as scholarships for cadets. And so it's a great event. It serves a great purpose. Please come. Let's celebrate together the success of the men and women of the Glendale Fire Department and also some of the volunteers. Now, one of the awards that we present at this is a Service Above Self award from the Glendale Sunrise Rotary Club. And so we have some excellent candidate for it. But since she hasn't accepted yet, I am not at liberty to give her name. But please come. And one of the things I do want to mention is that we have some sponsorship levels. First alarm is $250 and you get 2 tickets. Second alarm, $500 for 4 tickets. Third alarm, $900, 10 tickets. And then also we have a situation if somebody wants to sponsor a CERT, for $1,500 you get 10 tickets, and we also have the fire department train 20 individuals in the CERT program. Please join us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. See you there. Mr. Kasakian, any other staff?
No.
Okay.
That is all.
That's great. Let's move on to the next item.
Next is consent items, including minutes following a routine and may be acted upon by one motion. Any member of council or the audience requesting separate consideration may do so by making such request before a motion is proposed. A number of cards have been submitted, which I've handed to you, Mr. Mayor.
A large number of cards have been submitted, essentially making moot our consent calendar.
About the minutes.
Well, we can start with the minutes. There
that's
doesn't
two.
seem to be any objection to the minutes being approved by this council.
I'll move 5A.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Council members Draymond?
Yes.
Friedman? Quintero? Weaver?
Aye.
Mayor Najarian?
Yes. Dr. Spiritu, you have about 5 cards here. I'm going to give you 2 minutes on each one. 5B, please.
5B is Chief of Police regarding wellness consultant for the Police Department. B1 is motion approving contract with W Solutions, Inc., DBA Wellness Solutions.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. I'm in favor of this program. However, I do have 2 questions. The first question is, after doing a little research on W Solutions, Inc., DBA Wellness Solutions, I was unable to find any such corporation in the state of California. The other question is, this company happens to be located in San Diego. Isn't there another company closer than San Diego that we can do this? And is this a duplication of our existing programs that we have in the various health insurance programs that we have for the police department and the other members of the city employees. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any other cards on 5B.
Do 5B1 unless you...
Is there a second?
There is a second, and I'll make it second.
Roll call, please.
Council members Draymond,
Yes.
Friedman, Quintero, Weaver,
Aye.
Mayor Najarian.
Yes. 5C, please.
5C is Chief of Police regarding United States Department of Justice, Officer of Justice Programs, Bureau of Justice Assistance, 2010 Congressional Appropriations Act, allocation to fund the further establishment and sustainment of interoperable communications for public safety and local government. At C1 is a resolution accepting grant. At C2 is a resolution appropriating $500,000.
Richard Espiritu.
Once again, good evening, Mr. Mayor. I am Richard Espiritu. Regarding this issue, I am totally in favor of this program going through. Due to the fact that this is from the U.S. Department of Justice, I think this can be very helpful to the city of Glendale. And it is also very important for the PCA, which is something that's going to be brought up very shortly. And the city attorney's office will be fully aware of the PCA. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move 5C1 and 2.
For a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Council members Draymond,
Yes.
Friedman, Quintero, Weaver,
Aye.
Mayor Najarian.
Yes. 5D.
5D is Chief of Police regarding United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs, National Institute of Justice, 2010 Congressional Appropriations Act, allocation to further fund the establishment of a regional DNA laboratory at the Glendale Police Department. At D1 is a resolution accepting grant. At D2 is a resolution appropriating $500,000.
Richard Espiritu.
Once again, good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, and staff. I am Richard Espiritu. I have a couple of questions on this particular program. Number one, according to my information, it isn't $500,000, it's $1.5 million for the DNA laboratory because there's 3 cities involved. Everybody is familiar with what happened in the past with the construction of the police department here in the city of Glendale. And we did have a police officer who was overseeing the development of that particular building. Retired Lieutenant Nicolason is supposed to be in charge of the overseeing of this DNA laboratory. I'd like to know what his qualifications are to oversee the construction and the development of this DNA lab. I'm also very happy to see that this is also money is coming from the U.S. Department of Justice. Thank you.
Thank you. No other cards?
Move 5D, 1 and 2.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Council members Draymond,
Yes.
Friedman, Quintero, Weaver,
Aye.
Mayor Najarian.
Yes. 5E, please.
5E is Chief of Police regarding United States Department of Justice, Office of Justice Programs, Bureau of Justice Assistance, 2010 Justice Assistance Grant, JAG. At E1 is a resolution accepting the 2010 JAG grant. At E2 is a resolution appropriating $39,720.
Richard Espiritu.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. I am Richard Espiritu. I'm also in favor of this program. I think it's a worthwhile program for the police department to obtain this money. And due to the fact that this is from the U.S. Department of Justice, this once again reinforces the PCA, and I hope this goes through very quickly.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Mr.
move
Weaver.
5E, 1 and 2.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Council members Draymond,
Yes.
Friedman, Quintero, Weaver,
Aye.
Mayor Najarian.
Yes. 5F, please.
5F is Director of Public Works regarding contractual tree trimming program agreement and amendment. At F1 is motion amending contract number C102645E with West Coast Arborists, Inc., and authorizing Director of Public Works to execute the contract amendment for additional funds in the amount of $330,500 over the remaining 5 years of the contract duration.
Mike Mohill is not here. Is there a motion?
I'll move 5F1.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Draymond,
Yes.
Friedman, Quintero, Weaver,
Aye.
Mayor Najarian.
Yes. Okay, I don't have cards for G and H, so we can
Really?
take those.
So I'll move 5G and
G and
H.
H.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Draymond,
Yes.
Friedman, Quintero, Weaver,
Aye.
Mayor Najarian.
Yes. Excellent. Let's move to the next item.
Next item would be oral communications.
Zaven Kazazian. And this is the 3-minute portion of oral communications for announcements of items of public interest.
Good evening again, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, staff. I'm here to talk about, well, first of all, let me thank Leon Mayer for arranging it, and also thank the Glendale Public Library for sponsoring it. And I am Zaven Kazazian with the Armenian American Chamber of Commerce, and we are the organizers. This is a wonderful event, which is a photographic journey to Jerusalem's Armenian Quarter. Now, this presentation, it's all wonderful pictures, and it is going to be all done in this. It's presented in English, and also the admission is free. Please come and enjoy it. It's a beautiful pictorial presentation, and it is also a wonderful presentation of 1,700 years of Armenian Christians in Jerusalem, and also how they have lived harmoniously with other communities within the Jerusalem area of other cultures, religions, and so please come. It will be a very enjoyable, and also there will be, after an hour presentation, there will be time for question and answer. We are again very appreciative of the Glendale Public Library for sponsoring it, and we are extremely appreciative of Mr. Matthew Karanian for having this presentation. He went and spent almost 3 months in Jerusalem taking pictures and talking to different people, so this should be very enjoyable. Please join us. Thank you. I will be leaving some flyers here with the city clerk. Thank you.
Thank you. Leon Mayer.
And to add to what Mr. Kazazian just said, parking is available at the Maryland structure and be validated for 3 hours at the library. And it's our pleasure to work with Mr. Kazazian on this particular program. Now, am I the next speaker now? So I have 3 minutes?
You are the next speaker.
Okay.
You just used some.
You are the next speaker, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. My name is Leon Mayer. I'm here from the library and the Friends of the Library. And my first comment is this. We had a great program on Saturday at 4 o'clock at the library. We had the film Agate, the German film by Erich Fiedler about the genocide as documented by German sources during the period that all these terrible things were happening. And Germany, at that time, was an ally, a close friend of Turkey's. It was a great program. In fact, so many people came, some had to be turned away, and we are presently in the process of having the film brought back for an additional showing at the library, and I will keep everybody informed through the news press and through my appearance here as to the arrangements we make for the future presentation of this great film. Now, my next event I wanted to talk about is the One Book, One Glendale. And we've done this, I think this is our 4th or 5th year, and this year the emphasis is on what they call crime noir, LA or in California crime noir, which is the dark side of murder in the Hollywood and Los Angeles and Southern California. And we're going to have, first of all, this event is co-sponsored by the Kiwanis Club of Glendale, which I'm a member of, and the Friends of the Glendale Public Library in conjunction with the READ Glendale Public Library program. There's so much for me to talk about. I'm going to, at the outset, tell you that you got to go to the Central Library or any of the branch libraries to get all the information about this event. In fact, part of the event is going to be at Glendale College, so we're doing that in conjunction with the college as well. The main speaker will be Denise Hamilton, a Glendale resident who's achieved a national reputation as a murder mystery writer. Also there will be Pat Morrison, and also from the LA Times, Gary Phillips and Hector Tobar. There will be 4 so-called noir movies shown: Kiss Me Deadly, Murder My Sweet, This Gun for Hire, and White Heat. These events will be shown on special dates. You'll have to get the dates from the flyers. I'll have a few here, and I'll give them to you as you leave. There'll also be a Pat Morrison. Everybody's heard of Pat. She's come to the library on other occasions for other things. She's written a book, and she and Denise Hamilton will have some seminars together too. This will be a great citywide event, and I urge everybody to get involved through the libraries, through listen to what I have to say next week and the week after, getting a hold of these flyers, and just getting involved with this great program we're having. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Peter Roosh.
Yeah, you do.
Good evening, Mayor Najarian and honorable council members. My name is Peter Roosh, and tonight I'm representing the Glendale Historical Society. We are a nonprofit organization, and I'd like to announce our #1 fundraiser of the year, which is our annual home tour. This year's theme is called Adobe to Atomic, Glendale's Ranch Heritage, and it is this Sunday, October 3rd, between the hours of 11 and 4. Tickets will be available at the Casa Adobe de San Rafael at 1330 Dorothy Drive. And this, of course, is Glendale's original ranch home, built in 1871. Tickets will be $30 for non-members, $20 for members. The other 4 homes on the tour were built during the what it was called the atomic age of architecture, which was the 1950s. Yes, it is a car tour. You will get in your car and drive to each of the locations. But yes, also, you will be able to get out of your car and be on a docented tour of the interiors of each of these homes. The homes on the tour extend from the Oakmont area to the Verdugo Woodlands to Northwest Glendale to North Brand, and it's an extensive tour, and we think everybody's going to enjoy it. Tickets will be available prior to the event at www.glendalehistorical.org. And I know the weather has been really hot lately, but please remember, in Glendale, the weather is always just right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. I don't have any other cards for this portion of oral communication, so I will close it. Let's move to the next item, please.
Next item under action items at 8A, City Manager regarding request from Korea Glendale Sister City Association to adopt a resolution to establish a second sister city with the city of Gimpo, Korea. At 8A1's resolution establishing a Glendale Sister City program with Gimpo City, Gyeonggi Province, the Republic of Korea.
Mr. Starbird.
Mr. Mayor, I'll go to the nice young lady who's approached the dais, Zed Mullins, for the staff reports. Zed?
Thank you, Mr. Starbird. Mayor Najarian, council members. Several years ago, we have implemented Sister City program, and as you know, we have currently 6 sister cities, 2 in Japan, 2 in Mexico, 1 in Armenia, and 1 in Korea. On March 17th, a resolution was adopted by the City Council where we established a program with the sister city in Gosong, Korea. Since then, the 2 cities have enjoyed successful relationship with culture exchange and programs. Recently, in August of this year, we had a request made by Mr. Peter Jung, the president of the Korea Sister City Association, requesting to add another sister city that will be in Korea, and that's the city of Gimpo, Korea. In the city of Gimpo, Korea, in similarity with the city of Glendale, has met the criteria for the guidelines that has been established by the Sister City Association, and has very similar demographic and also cultural information that we share with them for economic and education, and a lot of the similarities that we require in our sister city programs have been met through doing the information and background information on the city of Gimpo. Right now, the Korean Sister City Association have gone through, as I indicated, the guidelines. They have demonstrated that the city of Gimpo can actually become a second sister city to Glendale. And right now with us is Mr. Peter Jung and Mr. Chang Lee. They would like to do a presentation on the city of Gimpo just to give you some information and background on the city. If you wish to have him approach.
Mr. Draymond?
Just wondering whether it involves dancing.
No, we're not performing tonight. No.
We've exhausted that earlier this evening.
No, this was already done by, and by the way, the group was from Gosong, our sister city that has been established already.
Is this a PowerPoint?
It's a quick PowerPoint presentation, 11 pages. We can go through it really quick, or
projections of what's going to be there?
yes,
Okay,
and what we share with common grounds and demographic areas that we share with them.
Let's go through it.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Mr. Jung, Mr. Lee.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. I'd like to bring up our board members, Joseph Kim, Nicole Chang, and Chang Lee. And Mr. Lee will go through the presentation for the event, please.
As Suzette Mullins has indicated, that we had very much success with Gosong City. Now, before I start the presentation, I'd like to really thank Mr. Starbird, Mrs. Spears, and Mrs. Mullins for their really hard-working, the support in this endeavor. The very first, the slide you see is a Hangang. What that is a Han River. So this project is right next to the river, and I don't know if you're familiar with the miracles of Han River, which revitalized Republic of Korea, and this sits right next to that Han River, and that's what Hangang means. And let me just briefly give you an overview why this Gimpo city was chosen as a second city, sister city, and that is as you'll find out, that they have similarity in population. There are 20,000 residents over there. But City of Glendale prides ourselves in creative city, where this city is everything about creativity and also green-friendly city. So there's a lot of common things that you'll find. The City of Glendale has DreamWorks, Disney company that is, we're very proud of their presence in our backyard here. And the Snap Police, what that is a cinema plus police. The cinema city is what that is, a Snap Police. So that's a bird's eye view of the reason, the city that they're trying to create in city of Gimpo.
Chang, would you explain, is it on the west coast or the east coast of South Korea?
This is actually more at the 38th parallel, as close to North Korea. So we're butting up right against the North Korea. On the west coast area, yes. This is right next to Seoul, so you'll see that. Next slide, please. Land area is 2,706,40 square meter, and that's about 27 million square foot. I don't know how to convert that in acres, but it's a pretty large area. And the project is started already from 2008, and it will go to 2016. And the project owner is the city itself. The project cost is about $2 billion, that's US dollars. And next slide, please. It is 25-minute drive from Incheon Airport. Now, the Gimpo used to have Gimpo Airport. It is now regional airport, just like Burbank Airport is. Gimpo has a regional airport, but it used to be international airport where before Incheon Airport, everybody flew into Korea through Gimpo Airport. And it's a 7-minute drive from the Gimpo Airport. It's a potential hub for South and North economic cooperation. It's a rapidly growing city. By 2014, in 2 years, they are planning to double their population to 400,000 residents. So it's a very aggressive, growth city with this Sinopolis project. And it's culture tour city and eco garden living city. Not only they're trying to be creative, but they're a very eco-friendly city as well. Next, please. Their basic concept is that creative industry park focus on broadcasting and visual media, the creative media, the entertainment industry. So as you can see, urban environment for creative, cultural industry, and they have created 5 clusters within their city, Sinopolis. Next, please. It's divided into 2 zones. So one is a creative core, and the other one is a business core. Next, please. The cultural concepts production zone is one of the 5 zones, and obviously this is where they'll cultivate cultural aspects of the city. Next. Design Valley zone, and this is, again, you can see it's very futuristic city development that they're creating. Next, please. Obviously, they are expecting a lot of conferences with this brand new city, so they also have accommodations planned in hotel and conference zone. Next. And open studio and theme park zone. This is where there's a similarity with Glendale and Gimpo, is that they are developing this cluster, which will become the main focus or main hub of Asia for entertainment industry. Next, please. This is the schedule that they have laid it out to 2016 to complete this. And when Mayor and I visited Korea, Gimpo, city of Gimpo, we witnessed already start of their construction in this effort. And based on the experiences that I've seen in Korea, that this is by all means very feasible, possible. One of the things that we think that, well, this type of magnitude project, it'll take 20, 30 years. But in Korea, we get it done in 2 years, 3 years. So this is the presentation of Gimpo, sister city proposal.
I think at this time, if you have any questions for the committee or myself, to move forward and adopt the request for the city of Gimpo.
There is a request to speak. Mike Mohill.
Thank you, Mayor and Council members. Sorry for making the noise before. I'm not used to this cane, so excuse me. The sister programs, I have a couple of questions. Number one, how much staff time and money is being used for this sister city program? Is this all about politics in favor of the community, of the Korean community? How about cities like Buenos Aires, Moscow, Berlin, Naples? The list can go on and on. Why not take this money and give it to the taxpayers of Glendale and help them reduce their GWP bill? Or they wouldn't have to have increases in their trash fees. Taxes and taxes and taxes. Where is the accountability of this program? We can add another 25 dozen sister programs, and each one of these sister programs costs the city time and money. Mr. Starbird spent time with it. Ms. Vera spent time on it. How about the city attorney? It's only money. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a stakeholder. It feels good to have sister cities. I don't deny it. But what are we getting in return? Are we getting money in return? Are we getting more business in return? Is the amount of money, here's the question. For every dollar we spend on this sister program, are we getting $1 back or $100 back? Or are we losing $100 or a dollar, whatever it is? Show me the money. Show me some accountability of this program. And I would feel good to endorse this idea. Because right now, you got 2 Korean cities you want to go for. Let's go to Israel. They can use the money too, and the Palestinians can use the money too. Accountability is what I would like. And again, pardon my coming in rude before.
Thank you. I don't have any other cards, and I just want to just clear up a few things. That the city does not financially support the sister city organization, that all the funds on this sister city organization and others that we have are all self-generated from the community itself. There is some staff time, obviously, in putting together a report and putting it through the agenda process, but it is certainly de minimis. And what it does is it does build ties between the 2 communities, between the 2 countries, between the different cultures. And that's what the sister city agreements are all about. I don't think we should look at this as, is this going to bring us money or not? But in fact, there are some advantages. We just had a consortium of students from our sister city of Gosong attend the Glendale high schools. We're currently talking about having them attend Glendale College and to live in Glendale and to bring their dollars into Glendale and to send their tuition dollars to Glendale Community College. But it is not about the dollars by any means. So it's not always dollars and cents. And I think what we have here with the city of Gimpo is a dynamic city that is growing. It's similar in size to Glendale, similar in location to Seoul as we are to the city of Los Angeles. And they are, you saw some of those slides, they are a dynamic force in Southeast Asia. It is certainly something that we can learn. I saw Mr. Hagani's eyes light up when he saw that Sinopolis, and you've just seen the tip of the iceberg with some of their planning concepts that they have there. It's really very, very motivating and interesting, as well as some of the architectural issues and the ecological issues that they've done in terms of revitalizing. And we talk about a river walk on our, I don't want to call it pathetic, but on our, no offense to anyone who was involved in lining the river with concrete. But look what they've done in terms of developing a plan and a concept for a dynamic community right on the banks of the Hang River. So, Mr. Weaver.
Yeah, you pretty much said what I was going to say. Mr. Mohill has again shown his ignorance. That's not unusual. There's no fiscal impact. Just read the report. I used to handle the Sister City program for the city of Glendale for many years. It's cultural exchange, and it's also trying to match up with cities where we can have more than just a cultural exchange. I talked about when the branding company was here, that maybe the name for Glendale ought to be the animation capital of the world. But talking to some of the people in the industry, I think a better name for it would be the creative capital of the world, similar to what this sister city is going to be doing, creating a creative sector in Asia. I think it is great. Just amazes me as an engineer to see that they can build that sucker in 3-4 years, and this country takes a century. We can't get high-speed rail or anything through. I wonder who's advanced and who isn't advanced. It's going to be something to see. I think I'll be able to live at least 3-4 years to go over there and see the completed project. You know, I won't wait around for the high-speed rail, sorry, in this state.
High-speed rail isn't my bag.
Anything related to rail, I won't be alive long enough to see it. So I think it's great. It's a good fit for us. We have the dinosaurs, and now we have the creative city of South Korea. And it will be a term. Incheon is going to be the key airport in Asia. When you're going over there, that's the one you'll land at primarily. And this is less than half hour away from it. It's going to be a big draw, and there's going to be a lot of conventions and activity there. So I think it's a great fit for the city, and whenever you want a motion, I'll give it.
Invite Mr. Draymond to make an
I have nothing to say other than I support this. I think if the speaker, with all due respect to the speaker, if he had just read the report, his questions would have been answered.
With that, I'd like to move 8A1.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
And I just want to say before we call roll, we can't have too many sister cities. As long as the community is willing to stand and support in terms of the planning and the finances that are involved, and it's not an incredible amount of money, we shouldn't limit the number of cities and countries and communities that we develop ties with.
Mr. Mayor, could I add one more thing?
Yes, Mr. Weaver.
When I was handling the sister cities, I attempted to establish an umbrella organization for all the sister cities, similar to the Homeowners Coordinating Council. Creating something like that would allow all these different sister cities to get together and put on uniformed events in the future. I knew I had it drawn up and went through legal, and it never materialized, but it will in the future, unless Ms. Mullins knows something I don't know.
Councilmember Weaver, Mayor Najarian, we've actually started the process, but not to make it official, where we had few meetings between all the different sister city associations and board members. We got together and talk about future opportunities and options to maybe do some fundraising together, to start attending each other's fundraising and promote each other in the community. We had few meetings, and I'm very hopeful that we're going to continue to get together and talk about it, but I think it's a great idea.
Would you like me to find my copy of the bylaws that I had created, that I worked on?
I'll be happy to look for it, yes.
Okay, I'll find them.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let's go to the roll.
Council members Draymond.
Yes.
Friedman. Quintero. Weaver.
Aye.
Mayor Najarian.
Yes. Thank you. Congratulations, Sister City Group. Next item, please.
At 8B is Director of Information Services regarding agreement with UISOL to provide assistance in the development of information technology architecture for GWP Smart Grid. At B1 is motion authorizing City Manager to execute an agreement with UISOL for a total not to exceed $201,300.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move 8B1.
Second.
Thank you. And I don't have any cards. This is a very logical an appropriate step to take on behalf of the city and GWP with regard to their smart grid. A roll call, please.
Council members Draymond.
Yes.
Friedman. Quintero. Weaver.
Aye.
Mayor Najarian.
Yes. Move on to the next item.
Next item is oral communications. Discussion is limited to items not part of this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. Council may question or respond to a speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. City Manager may refer the matter to the appropriate department for investigation and report. First speaker is Rosa Ghazarian.
Ես պետք է հայերեն խոսալ, կներեք, անգլերեն չգիտեմ։ Խնդրանքս նա է, որ 2001 թվից մենք գրված ենք Section-8։ Մինչև օրս ոչ մի լուր չունենք, Լոս Անջելեսի վրա, Հոլիվուդ, մեծ ասակների թեկուզ տուն ասենք, միտեղ, որովհետև ես տալիս եմ $1000, $700 ստանում ենք ես ամուսինս, ստանում ենք փող, որից $1000 տալիս ենք տանվարձը, բիլերին 200-ը, մեզ ոչինչ չի մնում, $100-150 մեզ ոչինչ չի մնում։ Շատ վատ վիճակի մեջ ենք, ես պետքա սերժերի լինեմ, խնդրում եմ ձեզ, բոլորից եմ խնդրում, որ ինձ միտեղ հատկացրեք, որ ես իմ սերժերիները եղնեմ, որ վերջնական տեղափոխություններ չլինի, Խնդրում եմ ձեզանից, ուղղակի շատ եմ խնդրում, օգնեք մեզ, որովհետև քանի տարի է ես գնում եմ, ասում եմ, ինձ ասում են, որ մի անգամ 2 տարի առաջ գնացել 800 հերթնեք համարնեք, որովհետև որ գրվեցինք հենց առաջի կեսի հերթի, երկրորդ հերթի առաջի մասն ենք մենք, այդքան մոտիկ էինք։ Մեզ ասեցին, որ 800 համարնեք։ 2 ամիս հետո ես գնացի, որպեսզի նորից հարցնեմ, տեսնեմ ինչ կատարվեց։ Գնա հազարներով առաջ գնաց, ասեցի չհասկացա։ Առաջ գնալուն հետ ենք գնում։ Խնդրում եմ բոլորիցդ, օգնեք մեզ։ Ի վիճակի չեմ, չենք կարողանում։ Ամուսինս 75 տարեկան է։ Ամեն օր իրեն ճնշումը կարող եք։ Ինձ էլ ես դիզաբիլիտի եմ։ Ես ես ծևը, որ խոսում ես ավելի վատ վիճակի մեջ եմ։ Ճնշումը 110-ով է, մենք ամեն րոպե սպասում ենք վատ վիճակի։ Խնդրում ենք, եթե հնարավոր է, կամ վերջացնենք այս բաներից։ Ես մի անգամ նեղվեցի, ասեցի, ավելի լավ էր գերեզմանոցի սեքշն հետ գրեիք մեզ։ Խնդրում եմ ձեզ, եթե հնարավոր է, ծերերի, մեծահասակների տուր, խնդրում եմ ուղղակի։ Չգիտեմ ինչ ասեմ էլ, որովհետև էլ հնար չունեմ, չեմ կարողանում։ Կարող եմ դուրսը գնալ մուրալ։ Չեմ կարող։ Օգնեք ինձ, խնդրում եմ, այսքանն եմ խնդրում։ Թող Աստվածը աշխարհին թող խաղաղություն տա։ Չգիտեմ ինչ ասեմ, բարին թող լինի։ Գիտենք ճգնաժամի մեջ է, բայց մենք էլ ենք ուզում, որ ասենք վերջի 2-3 տարին հանգիստ լինենք, չմնանք դրսերում։ Խնդրում եմ ձեզ։ Խնդրում եմ բոլորիցդ, այսքան բաներ, շատ եմ խնդրում ձեզանից։ Շնորհակալություն կներեք։ Ինչ ասեմ։ Իսկ Հալևուդի մեծահասակները տեղը նորից երկար տարի գրված են, կարող ենք բերել Glendale։ Խնդրում եմ օգնեք մեզ, պարոն Նաջարյան, շատ եմ խնդրում։
Thank you.
Շնորհակալություն, խնդրում եմ ձեզանց բոլորիցդ։
Not to represent that I can translate every single item, but essentially Ms. Gazarian indicated that she and her husband have been waiting on the Section 8 list since 2001.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, we'll provide the council with a translation of the comments tomorrow. In addition, I tried to explain to Ms. Lazarian, to the best of my abilities, our process and that she will not be receiving a direct answer from you after her comments.
And we'll get that translation, but essentially indicating that they have some serious medical issues, both of them, and they have been waiting and waiting to get on Section 8. They are in dire straits and are requesting the city for any sort of help that's available either through the Section 8 program or through the senior housing and affordable housing programs. And staff has been in touch with them and is working with them to see what can be done. The next speaker is Nick Franklin. Nick Franklin.
Yes, sir.
Franklin.
Nick, let me give you the mic. There you go.
Good evening, Mayor and everybody. My name is Nick Franklin, and I'm a 15-year resident of Glendale. And every time that one is disabled and they try to cross the street, they put their life at risk every time. I'm back here to address a matter that I have spoken to the mayor about on occasion, and Mr. Zern and other people within the city that have been very kind and very helpful to be able to listen to my concern. My concern, once again, that I was asked to be patient about when Mr. Zern talked to me about this several months ago. Over a year and a half, I've been working on this to get the disabled sound devices put in for the lights at Glendale Avenue and Wilson and Glendale Avenue and Broadway. I hope I got my streets correct? If not, please let me know. Because this has to be done. Because this past weekend, I had the opportunity to be crossing the street and talk to the people that were doing the evaluation and counting the traffic. I don't know the appropriate name for that. But as we were sitting there and she was listening to me, she said she couldn't look at me because she was counting people. But we saw a blind man she saw a blind man crossing the street. Nothing happened to the blind man crossing the street at Glendale Avenue and Wilson. But that's just another example that these systems need to be put in that continually have been pushed back because I have been told respectfully we have no money in the budget. Number one was said to me. The second comment that's been said to me was we need to order the items for the audible systems. Okay. I have been really patient with this. It seems to me that by now the items could have been ordered. And there should be some money somewhere because I was asked to wait until September, October to come back and to address this very important item. And while I'm at it, before my time runs out, could you please, when you put in these two intersection sound devices, could you also consider restriping the two intersections while you're at it, please? I'm really concerned about this because it's been pushed back and I've been asked to wait. And I'm not necessarily only speaking for myself. I'm speaking for all of my friends at Ivy Glen Apartments and my friends over at Maple Park Apartments and other persons with disabilities within the city of Glendale. And you know, Mayor, you and I've spoken about this before. So please, guys and ladies, please do something about this. It's way past time. Thank you for your very kind attention.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin. Richard Espiritu.
Once again, good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, and staff. I am Richard Espiritu. Mr. Garcia and Mrs. Beers, Mr. Franklin was just talking about how it almost takes an act of faith for people with disability to cross the streets here in Glendale. Mr. Garcia, tell me where it says you need an act of faith in ADA, TEA 21, Title 24, Barden versus Sacramento, which is a federal case, settlement agreement that was completed July 24, 2010 on Milton City in Washington, July 9, 2010, Lancaster, and April 8, 2010, Kansas City, Kansas. I have read all of these reports, and nowhere in these reports does it say a person with a disability has to have an act of faith to cross the street without getting hit. I wish the city would start looking at doing their job in complying with the Americans with Disability. The Transportation Equity Act of the 21st century, which councilmen have been able to elicit money for bicycle places and bicycle signs and markings, I think that's a great idea. But we also, in TEA 21, it also speaks about audible signals. Since I have a few more minutes, I'd also like to discuss another issue. One of the things that happened, my boots on the grounds informed me that the Glendale Police Department had put in proposals that would have saved the city approximately $4 million. I understand that 2 of the council members voted it down, 2 of them voted for it, and 1 abstained from the vote. I would seriously suggest that the City Council relook at the proposal that the Glendale Police Department Association did present to the City Council, because if they can save us $4 million, and we're all talking about saving money, I think that would be something that we can look forward to, especially since today there's been $1 million plus worth of grants that has been given to the Glendale Police Department for better service to service our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mauro Yakubian.
Good evening, Mayor Najarian, Council Member Weaver, Council Member Draymond, City staff. My name is Mauro Yakubian, and I'm a Transportation and Parking Commissioner for the City of Glendale. I had an opportunity to volunteer my time and participate in the 2nd annual pedestrian and bicycle count this past Saturday through the efforts of Colin Bogart and the LA County Bicycle Coalition. My task was to stay at the corner of Americana Way and Central Avenue for 2 hours on Saturday and tally the number of pedestrians and bicyclists passing through the intersection. What I observed was very upsetting and disturbing. What I saw was innumerable drivers using their cell phones, talking, texting. I felt completely helpless and I felt outraged. When I mentioned what I had observed to my fellow commissioners at last night's meeting, I learned that many of them had also participated in this count. One was stationed on Honolulu, one down on Flower Street. We were spread out over the city. And their observations, as they related to me, were exactly the same as mine. That there are too many people in this city on their cell phones, texting while driving and talking while driving. And I'm here tonight because I believe it's reached epidemic proportions, and I'm here because I feel compelled to. I am involved in Safe Streets campaigns. I'm involved in, safe schools. Next week is the International Walk to School Day, Walk and Bike to School Day. Yet, in my conscience, I don't know how we as a city can encourage people to get out and walk, get out and bike, when we are not enforcing the laws that are already on the books. This doesn't take money out of the budget. This takes strong enforcement. And to me, that's the first step in making the people of Glendale feel safe. Striping crosswalks are great, and I'm for that, and I'm for improvement of infrastructure. But I believe the pressing problem that's facing the city is the lack of enforcement of these people who are using their vehicles, in my opinion, as assault weapons, potential assault weapons. I don't think there's many things you as a council, and unfortunately Councilmember Friedman and Councilmember Quintero are not here tonight, because I really wanted them to hear my words. But there aren't too many things I can imagine that all of you agree upon, and probably most of Glendale agree upon. But this is one issue. And I would love to see this council go down in history of the city of Glendale as being the council that stood up and said enough. We are going to talk to Chief DePompa. We are going to implement a zero tolerance policy, and we're going to begin to crack down on these violators of the law. Because I believe that's going to be the best first step at keeping the people of Glendale safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mike Mohill.
Good evening, Mayor, council members again. Mike Mohill, long-term resident. First of all, in all due respect to Mr. Weaver and Mr. Najarian in regards to the Sister City program, show me the documents that this is a successful program. You tell me anecdotal stories, which feels good, but show me the money. Show me in black and white, A to B, that we made, they made. Just don't give me pie in the sky. It feels good. Okay, the reason I came here to talk tonight was about a sense of entitlement. In July, Glendale City Manager Jim Starbird, after first learning about former Chief of Police Randy Adams' entanglement with the City of Bell, commented that Adams was gaming the system. When Chief Adams left the Glendale Police Department, he left with no disability on his record. In September 2010, City Manager Starbird was informed Adams had struck a deal with the former City of Bell administrator, Robert Rizzo. That guaranteed the incoming chief a disability retirement because of injuries he had sustained years earlier. With disability upon retirement, Adams would not have to pay taxes on half of his projected pension income of over $200,000 annually. Starbird said he had counseled Adams in April 2009 not to work for the City of Bell because of its history of corruption. Starbird asked, why Bell? Adams said the package was just too good to give up or to refuse. So where did Adams learn to game the system? But in the city of Glendale and the other cities Adams has worked for in the past. He is not alone in his sense of entitlement. Even during this Great Recession, the Glendale City Fire Department refuses to change their staffing policy from constant staffing, 64 to 66 firefighters working 24/7, to stationing on demand, which would reduce staffing personnel, reduce working hours, would also reduce the city payroll and pension obligations. Recently, when speaking with one Glendale manager whose salary was over $100,000 annually, not including a lucrative pension, retirement at age 55, car allowance, education allowance, and a Cadillac family medical plan, this individual told me that the managers had taken a cut in salary this year, just like everyone else. I said, wow. Yes, he said, we had to contribute an additional 1.5% to our pension plan. Excuse me. Such a hardship. I feel your pain. As millions of people in the private industry continue losing their jobs and medical benefits, government employees have been conditioned to have this sense of entitlement. Look how the unions dig in their heels when negotiating with the politicians, Mr. Weaver, who gave them their generous pensions and salaries in the first place. And of course, let us not forget, Mr. Weaver, the generous campaign contributions you and your other councilmen have received in the past. Hopefully this year, hopefully this year, when police and firefighters and teachers and other government agencies send mailers to our homes asking us to vote for their favorite politician or proposition, we will be more informed and say no to their wishes. The system is broken, and the sooner the public demand all employees receive Social Security and a 401k plan, the sooner the system will be repaired. The voters are the stockholders of our great cities and the state, and we must act like we are in charge and not the politicians or the unions. Otherwise, a continued sense of entitlement will prevail, and the Randy Adams of the world will continue laughing at us from above. Here's a list, 2 pages, of former Glendale City employees making over $100,000 in pensions every year. And I'm living on Social Security. Something is wrong with this system, and the 5 councilmen here are responsible for this error. Thank you.
Margaret Hammond.
Good evening, Mayor Najarian, and your lovely sister had her company this evening, and staff, and Mr. Draymond and Mr. Weaver. My name is Margaret Hammond. Number one, I want to agree wholeheartedly, which I've talked about before, about the pedestrian problem. Being targets for the drivers in this city. That's what they are. Tonight on the way here, I thought I was going to have my car covered in blood. I was driving along Broadway, and at the intersection that this gentleman talked about, there was an elderly man waiting. He had a cane, and he was hobbling. He came out from the sidewalk. I stopped. I was in the right-hand lane. And then I looked up and over, and there was a car shooting through on my left. And I'm going, no, trying to tell him, stop. Bad enough, that one car, there was a second car. And luckily, he kind of looked, and I guess me wagging my head around, he did stop in front of my car. And then when the second car went through that crosswalk, he went. But I'm telling you, my heart stopped. I was scared me to death. And that was tonight. Over and over, you see the same thing all over the city. And as I said in the past, I've had experience with the cell phones. As I said, one night on my way here, I had a woman bump me while she's talking on the phone. And my car last year was wrecked, front and back, by being hit in the rear from a guy on a cell phone on the freeway. I guess I was lucky on that one. But anyway, I'm just saying I agree. I don't know why, when we can send men to the moon, that we can't perfect some invention. There has to be somebody out there that the cell phones could be turned off automatically when they're in the car, that they wouldn't be able to talk on them. My gosh, as I said, we can send men to the moon. There should be a way to control that. And then again, my thinking is, hey, we're 191 in the worst drivers in is it the state or the nation? It's too bad we weren't 193, and then our city could be branded. We're looking for a brand as the worst drivers in America. How about that? We'd have a great brand then, wouldn't we? I guess we have more pedestrians getting knocked off, whatever. I don't know whether it's a sport or what anymore with the way that people are getting run down. It's very sad. By the way, I went to the community meeting that was held last Thursday at Mann. And I thought, gee, there's a pretty good bunch of people here, pretty good number. But when they divided them up into different language, Hispanic and otherwise, and then I started checking and asking, there wasn't very many people, and I looked, and I realized there was almost as much staff as there were people. And then I asked, well, was this sent out to everybody, just to South Glendale? And talking to a couple of the other people, it didn't turn out that it was. It was sent out citywide, which dumbfounded me, because I thought, my gosh, you mean nobody cares? They're always griping, I almost said another word, about something and carrying on, and yet here they are when they have an opportunity to come and voice their views and do whatever, they don't turn up. I get to the point when people call me up, I just feel like saying, I don't want to hear you. You don't care enough to go to city council, to attend the meetings, and I'm going to be going to the meeting tomorrow night that's going to be held at Mann about the police. But again, I'm back to the indifference leads to problems like Bell has. That's what I'm saying to you people out there. And many of my friends, I say it straight to their faces. Don't, you gripe, you complain, go and do it where somebody's going to hear you. And I really feel bad about it, that people won't be responsible for their city by attending and talking. But they don't like to be made little of or fun of or whatever, and that's one of the reasons they probably stay away. So I'm hoping that maybe they'll get up on their hind legs and come and talk to you. And next Monday is our Glendale Homeowners Committee Coordinating Council meeting. Will be at 7 o'clock at the Boy Scouts Hall up on Glenwood. So anybody that's interested in coming and griping and talking, whether you belong to a homeowners group or not, you're welcome. Please come. And sometimes we can help you with your problems. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nancy Kent?
My name is Nancy Kent. I'm a resident of Glendale. The Glendale City Council made an excellent decision to start requiring that Glendale retailers obtain a tobacco retail license from the city. This started January 2008. It was mentioned in the July 16, 2010 Glendale News Press article titled, "Fewer Smokes for Teens. More Glendale shops are refusing to sell tobacco to youth." This article described the 2 youth purchase surveys conducted by Glendale Adventist Medical Center, one in 2006, before the tobacco retail license requirement, and the other in 2010. Teenage volunteers tried to purchase cigarettes from 100 Glendale stores. In 2006, 24% of those merchants sold cigarettes to minors, but in 2010, it was down from 24% to 10%. Thank you again to the Glendale City Council for what you've done to regulate and decrease tobacco smoking in Glendale. Now, we do not have, and we should not have, tobacco prohibition or alcohol prohibition. If we did, people would still buy these products, but through an illegal black market with no tax revenue and no incentives for vendors to sell only to adults. Last week I spoke here about a group called Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, LEAP, LEAP, a group of retired and current police officers, judges, prosecutors, etc. They do not promote the use of drugs, and they're deeply concerned about the extent of drug abuse. They're against the current policy of drug prohibition because both drug abuse and gang violence flourish in a drug prohibition environment, just as they did during alcohol prohibition. I mentioned that a recent study from Columbia University shows that teens currently find it easier to purchase marijuana than age-regulated alcohol. Drug dealers have no incentive to check IDs since it's illegal for everyone. Tonight, I'd like to read a different reason for voting yes on Proposition 19 from LEAP's September 13, 2010 press release that was titled, "California Law Enforcers Endorse Marijuana Legalization." This press release is a letter signed by 32 former and current law enforcement officials. Quote, As law enforcement professionals, we especially want voters to understand that legalization will allow us to do our jobs more effectively. In 2008, there were over 60,000 arrests for simple misdemeanor cannabis possession in California. Yet nearly 60,000 violent crimes went unsolved in our state that same year. When we change our cannabis laws, police officers will no longer have to waste time on low-level cannabis arrests. We'll be able to focus on protecting the public from murderers, rapists, drunk drivers, and burglars. Cannabis cases will no longer clog up court dockets, and room in our costly, overflowing prisons will be freed up when we stop locking people up just because they tested positive for cannabis while on probation. End quote. Last week, after oral communications, none of the council members stepped up to the plate to support yes on Prop 19, but I did not hear anyone arguing in favor of the status quo, which is widespread illegal drug use with lots of the profits going to violent gangs. Vote yes on Prop 19 to regulate and tax marijuana. And I'll repeat my disclaimer that I don't smoke, eat, or sell it. The website for LEAP is www.copssaylegalizedrugs.com. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any other cards, so I will close all communications. Mr. Weaver.
Well, just a comment on texting and cell phones. I see it every day. Cell phones. I can't see the texting because they're holding it down. We all see it. I see people running red lights, turning into traffic. And every day my wife gets mad at me because I'm yelling. No police around. But we're 30 square miles. We have a limited police force. We're now being asked to patrol all the hillsides at night. We just do not have enough police officers. If you have a cell phone, you see a police officer come, boop, you just drop it out of your hand. Try to prove it that the person was on the cell phone. We have white crimes in Glendale. We have gangs operating in Glendale. We have burglary, auto, you name it. There's so much that our limited resources do. You want to prioritize that. We'd be putting a lot more officers out in the field, taking them away from other essential duties. It's not a good answer, no. But I think it's as realistic as we can get. The state statistics say that since they put outlawed texting in cars, texting has increased in cars. Now, where are you going to stop it? You're not supposed to speed. You're not supposed to litter. There's just not enough police officers in the state of California, or any state for that matter, to keep an eye on all the idiots that are out there abusing the privileges they have. And if anybody ever can find an answer to that, boy, they'll be a millionaire. There's just no easy answer, but I sure wish they got the message tonight. But of course, the message that you're trying to send out to the people who are doing it, they're not watching. They're out on the road with the cell phone in their ear. So, I don't know, I empathize greatly, but I know of no answer to it. I better stop on that note and not talk about anything else.
You, Mr. Draymond, any comments? I don't have any comments.
On new business?
We do have new business.
Yes. I'd like to move that the city attorney be and hereby is authorized to enter into a retainer agreement to utilize the legal services of Cosden, Summons, Riley, and Vaughn, LLP, Kenneth Cosden, to assist the city attorney in representing the interests of the city of Glendale in the matter titled City of Glendale versus FedCon et al. And related cross actions, case number EC 046196. The contingent fee agreement shall, in addition to other provisions, contain a budget for expert fees for the handling of said matter.
Is there a second?
There is. Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Raymond?
Yes.
Friedman? Quintero? Weaver? Mayor Najarian?
Yes.
There a motion to adjourn? And a second? Second?
Second by Mr. Draymond. We are.
Yes.
Thank you.